All right. Welcome back to episode 8 of the Leaf the Lights On podcast with your host, Nicholas Principe.
And Luca Tersini.
Today, we're going to be talking about the last three games of the season. The last three games that the Leafs played, which was Boston, Detroit, and Montreal, as well as talking about the game tonight and tomorrow and some other news that's happening around the roster.
I wish it was the last 3 games of the season.
I really don't, because we're starting to play well. Yeah. So maybe let's get into it. So the first game that we got to talk about is the Boston game last Tuesday. Now, we were covering the election, so we didn't get to watch it, but luckily they had it playing every time that we were in, and every time we were in, they seemed to have scored a goal.
A power play goal. A power play goal.
They were cooking. And I remember we said last podcast that we were both worried, and we both kind of favored Boston in this game. The Leafs showed them up. It was complete domination. 4-0. Go on. Say what you need to say.
Yeah, like you said, it was kind of hard for us to really pay attention to the full game and nitpick things out because, obviously the whole election thing. But, after I listened to a lot of people talk about the game, I watched the highlights in depth and all that stuff, and just it felt like even though, there was the Leafs taking control of the game for the most part, which we've been asking for, and this was the breakout game for the power play, right? Is they came to play 3 power play goals, or the 4 we scored. The last one was an empty netter from Dewar, I think it was. But the power play came up, and obviously we were kind of.
Dewar?
Oh, did I say Dewar? Lawrence.
Sorry,
Dewar. I'm excited. I'm excited about Dewar, but we'll get into that in a bit. But anyways, my bad. Yeah, it was Lawrence. We're just still taking, especially in that game, I felt like we were still taking much more penalties than we should. But also Boston kind of equaled that out by taking a lot of penalties.
Yeah.
So I kind of made up for it. But it's just, even now, we take a lot of penalties. And we have for the full season. We've talked about this before. We've taken way too many penalties. Some of them penalties, like we said, are going to happen just for the style we play. But then some of them are why are you doing that?
Yeah,
I remember Nyes, I didn't see it, but apparently in the Bruins game when we were only up by 2, Nyes took a bad penalty in the offensive zone.
Yeah.
Right? Which is kind of...
You never want to take a penalty there.
Exactly, right? So it's kind of you got to kind of hold off on maybe taking those penalties. But other than that, it's a big 2 points against a team that is trying to chase you right now. So, yeah, it was... Good game.
Not even a team that's trying to... Well, obviously a team that's trying to chase you, but a team, like we always talk about every week, Boston's one of our, if not our, arch rival, right? Every time meeting them in the first round and always losing. But yeah, it was good to get the 4-0, especially because, we talked about last week, we've been struggling. We've really been struggling. Our power play, we haven't been playing to the full 60 minutes of hockey. And from what we saw of this game, and like you said, from what we've heard and everything, it seemed like it was a great performance overall for the full 60 minutes. I mean, Stolarz got his first shutout of the season, so you can't really say much if you're scoring and stopping, right? So overall, it seems like we played a very good game, and we shut down a team that, like you said, is going to be chasing us all year. So that's a good, very, very solid 2 points, and a very necessary 2 points at that.
All games are going to, for all the games we play, obviously, you're going to be able to nitpick things out that, maybe the team could have done a better job. And, for that one, I take out, the unnecessary penalties that we took, right? But if you're shutting out the other team, and for the most part, it's a dominant game, right? And you fixed the main problem of this team so far, which is the power play, and you fix it. I mean, can't really get much better than that, especially from the team that you beat, right? So,
obviously, we're going to touch on the overall power play after we talk about the 3 games, but the power play has been blasting it through the last 3 games.
Yeah.
So we might as well move into the Detroit game. 3-1. It was a 2-1 game. Johnny scored the empty netter, but again, I watched this one. I don't know if you did.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, of course.
It was, again, another complete game. I don't think there was too many lapses of judgment. The Larkin goal was, nobody could have done anything there, maybe besides cover the slot better. But
it's just a great shot. Perfect shot. The only way you're saving that is if it hits you, and it's on the power play. Some guys lose their man. I don't know whose man it was. I don't know the play by off my my mind, but good players are gonna find ways to score, and Larkin's a good player, so it's just a good goal.
Yeah, I do. Like I don't remember specific play, but I remember that play because it was crisp passing throughout the whole power play. They moved it up, down, cycled it around so well in that power play, and to get that shot off, it was just a wicked wrister from the slot. Like, great goal. You can't really say much about it, but we still shut the door. Again, a team like Detroit, who's probably not gonna, you know what, they're gonna be in the race, and I honestly hope they do make the playoffs this year, especially with like Patrick Kane and DeBrincat and everything. But you know, they're 6-6-1, so they're a little bit even. They're almost where we were last week. Right, so again, to get the 2 points out of that is necessary for us because, well, I said last week I was starting to get scared, right? So
I remember at the end.
We got to continue taking this, and overall, it seemed like a very good game just from everything that happened. Like Marner 2 points, Riley 2 points, Tavares 2 goals. That's like now not having to see Tavares he's showing up what we thought he was going to do this at the start of the year.
I think we both thought this was going to happen. But you know what? About this game...
No, I underestimated Tavares. Right? I thought at the start of the year that, you know, like, it could have... I think it could have gone one of two ways with Tavares. He either lost the C and completely started regressing. He's like, oh, I don't deserve this. Like, I'm not going to play for my... You know what I mean? Or what he's doing, cooking. Yeah. Right? So I'm glad to see that he chose the high road instead of,
for real. Yeah, so, he's playing good. But the point of this game is, I just remember, and like, through the whole game... Like, even though it was a 2-1 game for pretty much the whole game except for the end when Tavares scored that empty netter, it was just like, and I say this in the best way possible, it was a very boring game.
Yeah.
It was a very, very boring game, but we both agree on this, is that we're okay with these games.
Yeah.
It's Brew-based style hockey. Like, 2-1 games going into the third period, as long as we're able to control the game. Like, I feel like in this game is, like, when I was sitting there watching it, I'm like, I don't feel like we're like nothing's gonna happen, but like in a good way.
Yeah.
Right? Like we're gonna shut this down. Like it's a boring game. Like Stolarz is playing well. Stolarz in that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Everybody's playing well, and then just ended off with an empty net. So this was probably the most boring game out of every game that we've played so far.
100%.
But like in the best way possible.
I remember. I think we went into the third period and it was like 15 shots for Toronto and 11 for Detroit. And I'm like, through 40 minutes of hockey, 20-something shots combined, it's a boring game. But you're going to have those, right?
For sure, yeah.
They're going to happen. It's more down to the goalies at the end of the day.
As long as we're coming out with the win with these boring games, right?
For sure. Yeah. That's all we care about, realistically. So, again, overall great game. I can't really pick too much out. Bobby McMahon, maybe. But, like...
you know what?
He's not playing awfully, but I see exactly what you mean by the cardio.
I'll give you... Okay. That game, that line... That's one thing I remember about that game that really stood out to me was that third line. I thought the third line played really well. It was McMahon, Holmberg, and Robertson. I thought Robertson played exceptional. There was a point in the game, I think it was the third period, where he was, like, cutting on a dime. Like, he looked really well. Now, again, he scored, but Bobby McMahon ran into the goalie, which, you know what? I'm not going to say anything about that because those plays happen. He was driving the net. He tried to get out of the way. But, like, of course it's him, though. You know what I'm saying? Like, of course it's him.
I'm going to disagree with you there. Continue your point, but I'm going to disagree with you there. Because watching the playback, like, it was a great play. He got the pass in front of the net. Robertson scored. Overall, it was a good play, but he did not need to run into the goalie.
No, of course.
He wasn't pushed into the goalie. He wasn't driven into the goalie. It was by his own accord that he decided, I'm going to knock him while trying to get the puck and maybe make it look like I was hit into him.
I don't know. You can make the argument that the guy behind him was pushing him, but not enough to maybe, like...
He was too far away from the net when whoever the defenseman was, I don't remember.
Was kind of, like, hitting him in the back.
Yeah, he was too far away from the net. The guy literally broke off from him, and he still skated into the goalie. Like, there was no reason he had to do that. Except for the fact that he wanted to get the puck and make the pass. Like, it was a great play besides the fact that you drove into the goalie for no apparent reason.
And, like, it sucks because Robertson's kind of
going
through a drought and he really needed that. But I thought that whole line played well. Like, I thought Robertson stood out the most out of the three, but I think as a line they played fine. But I don't know. Other than that, like I said, it was a pretty boring game. So Marner played well too. So
the two players that have been upping their game besides Tavares, because he's been doing it since the start, is Willie and Mitchie, especially without Matthews in the lineup. Right, the power play's been nuts. So we might as well move into the Canadiens game because, so 4-1 against Montreal. I don't think we lacked much in this game either. Like, I don't know what you think about it, but overall, I think we played a great game against Montreal. Like,
Yeah, no, there's nothing else to really say. The Stars came up to play in this one, and you want to see that. But it was one of those it was another game where, like, we got on the board a lot, but it was another one where it was, like, going into the third period, it's like, this game's done.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, they're not coming back from this. Like, I know Montreal, I know they won yesterday. They beat, like, Buffalo at, like, 7-5 or whatever it was.
yeah, it's high scoring.
But coming into this one, I'm like, yeah, our power play is doing well. Montreal is kind of in a slump right now. They're not that great, right? We should win this one, and that's exactly what we did. There was no point in the game where I was like, we're gonna lose this. Like, Willie making Lane Hudson look like a 2-year-old on that play, that was beautiful. Marner looked amazing again. He's playing really well.
Yeah, Joe Wall
Wall
won
played
that game,
really well.
so-
The defense is playing really well. That's the thing. Like, Matthews being out, right when they said that Matthews was going to sit out a couple of games, a lot of people were like, oh my God, like, he's sitting out. Like, more of like, the team perspective. I'm not talking about, like, him, like, because obviously if he's injured, we don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, I looked at it kind of positive. I'm like, well, you see, like, Marner and Matthews play together, and we've seen them have chemistry many times.
Yeah.
But it's like this season, it's like, well, Marner hasn't really played that well, and Matthews really hasn't played that well, and Marner is always trying to just force the puck to Matthews because he wants him to score and get off his kind of like slump or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, get off the schneid.
Yeah. But now that he doesn't have to do that, and like Domi's up there, it's making him more free, I think. It's not like, oh, I'm going to go in the offensive zone and my head's looking around for Matthews. It's more like, I have the space, I'm going to create, I'm going to distribute it to more players, just like the power play. That's why the power play, in my opinion, has been so good, is because they're not just drawing something up and saying, yeah, you give it to 34.
Yeah.
Because I'm not blaming it on Matthews. I'm just saying he has also double-clutched. He hasn't shot it as much this year, right? But you see guys like Nyes, Marner, Willie, Tavares, all of them.
Yeah.
Riley's even scored some power play goals too. Like, it's just... And then you can have the whole conversation, which I'm sure we'll get into, where it's like, do you continue this?
Yeah.
Or do you... And then you put Matthews with the second unit and kind of... We'll get into that, but... It was another game where it's like, you want to see them play like that, but like by the book. You know?
Yeah, I remember before the game started, my cousin was putting some bets on, and he was building a parlay, and he's like, oh, like, who's gonna get shots? What's the score gonna be? I said it's either gonna be a 4-1 or 4-2 game. I said Willie and Mitchie are both gonna cover over 2 shots, and I said Mitchie and Willie are probably gonna get a point, or if not, a goal each. It's exactly what happened.
2-point nights for both of them, right?
Yeah, both got a goal and an assist. And
Yeah.
the first one where, was it the first one or the second one where Mitchie got the power play goal off the rebound?
That was the first goal.
The first one. It was such an easy break-in into the zone. And I remember I talked about this last week or 2 weeks ago about our break-ins. Our break-ins last year was like, once we leave the zone, it was so difficult to get back in. And without Matthews on this, like, obviously they did it with Matthews, but now they're just doing that one-man take into the zone, and it worked. Like, it was Willie scored a goal like that, and then Mitchie got a rebound like that. Like,
I think the Marner one, was on the penalty kill, though.
no. Oh,
Yeah,
sorry,
it
I'm thinking about
was.
the Detroit game. I
Yeah.
might be thinking about the Detroit game. But even still, right, the point still applies. Like, we're not trying these two-man entries. We may try it once in a while, but the one-man break-in seems to be working so much easier.
Yeah, for sure. That's the thing now, is like, if we keep scoring, it's not going to be a problem. Just keep riding what you have, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing. Like, when Matthews comes back, it's like, well, it's Austin Matthews. Like, you kind of need to put him back on the first unit, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, well, do you really? Because, like,
We're almost 60% right now.
And
Let's
yeah,
bear
like,
this in mind.
you
In the
can't
month of November
change it.
so far, we're almost 60% on the power play.
I think this is what they should do. You start Matthews with the first unit again.
Yeah.
If the first power play we don't score and it looks like garbage,
Yeah, no
then
synchronization.
you put Matthews on the second unit.
I agree. I
Or
mean,
you
we
split them up again.
We talked about this last week, right? With how they put Johnny and Willie on the second power play unit.
Yeah.
If we're gonna put a 69 goal scorer on the second power play unit, how much scarier do you think that makes us, though? Like, yes, obviously you want arguable best player, well, not even arguable, your best player on the first power play. But if the power play is not producing, quote unquote, because he's on it, then you have to make that decision to drop him to the second one, because then it also allows him more freedom, because maybe he's not thinking, oh, I got to pass to Willie, I got to pass to Johnny, I got to pass to Mitchie. Right? You got OEL at the point. Yeah. You got him in the not in the slot, but on the
on his side.
On his side. You got Robertson on the other side. Maybe you keep Niles on the first one, put Domi on the second one. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's so much scarier like that. Not saying he deserves to be there, but if it's not going to work with him on it, you got to make some changes, and people may not like it. But I honestly think if he comes back, like you said, if we don't get a goal on the first one, you got to make that decision.
Yeah, right. Like you said, we're almost 60% without him on there. Like, especially for how bad it's been, you can't change what's working, man. Exactly. You can't change that.
No, I fully agree.
I wouldn't change it.
I fully agree with you. And we said last week, you said November's been our month the last couple seasons, and we went into November not great, and now we're 3-0, 4-0, 3-1 maybe. But our power play's been exceptional, and the whole team has not lacked in any major standpoint. So once Matthews comes back, like, I'm going to be honest, our record without Matthews is 38-19-2. So that's almost a whole season without him, right? No, not almost, but you know what I mean, right? 60 games without him almost. So, and you have a great winning record. Not saying he's not going to play anymore, but you know what I mean? Like, that should show something that the team plays great.
They step up. Next man mentality kind of thing. Right?
Yeah, they step up, and it allows, like you said, more of that freedom for him to, or for, players like Marner, who obviously, players like Marner and Domi who push for passes more, to maybe make those shots, right? Because I don't think that power play goal that Marner scored happens if Matthews is on that power play. Because Marner drove to the net, and when does Marner ever drive to the net on a power play? Right? So, I don't know. You can't really change what's working. So
no, it's true. It's completely true. Like, I don't want to reiterate it again, but you can't change it. Like, there's nothing else to say about it. All these other guys have stepped up every time he's been out of the lineup. Not even just power play, like, just in general. Yeah. And I'm not saying we should trade him and he's bad. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
whoever would say that is Delulu.
But you know what? Let me just play devil's advocate now.
Okay.
We've seen now almost a 40-game sample of this team, or the core, we'll call it, play without Matthews. And they haven't struggled one bit.
Yeah.
Right? I would say almost 40, 19, and whatever it is if that's a season, that's like a historic season, right?
Yeah.
If in the offseason we're out in the first round again, or not even, I won't even use that example. I'm just going to say this. Because we all know that, I'm not saying this is going to happen, and this is stupid, but if you do trade Matthews, you will get a haul for whatever team you trade him to.
Yeah.
I had this conversation on the weekend.
Yeah.
Would you look in to that situation if you need change, which we do if we are out early again?
I want every part.
It's got to be looked at. It's got to be. I'm not saying that it's going to happen and it won't happen, but I'm saying if for example, I'm not saying this is going to happen, but if Dallas comes to you, because these American teams, you get Austin Matthews. Austin Matthews is the American boy.
Yeah, especially a place like Texas.
If a team like Dallas offers you a haul, because they have young players, like Wyatt Johnson and all those guys, plus picks, because it's
Matthews.
Austin Matthews, right? Like, why wouldn't you at least look into it, man?
Like, every part of me wants to say no, because you just made him the captain.
Yeah, of course.
He's the only first overall pick from the core, right?
He's your center. He's your center.
Yeah, he's your almost 70 goal scorer.
Yeah.
Like, every part of me wants to say no, but I want to see what the asset return would be.
That's all. That's the whole thing, is that what would you get from? But then I look at it as like it's Austin Matthews.
You're gonna get it, and the thing is, like, either way, not either way, but like, unless it's like ridiculous asset returns, everyone's probably gonna be like, oh, we got fleeced because it's Austin Matthews. right?
Yeah, for sure.
70 goal scorer, unless, let's say you said Dallas, unless Wyatt Johnson, let's say we get Wyatt Johnson in the trade, which I don't think we would, but it's a possibility. Let's say we get Wyatt Johnson and he scores.
He would be one of them in the trade. That's what I'm trying to say.
You would hope, right?
Yeah.
Let's say he gets 50 after the trade and he comes with Toronto. Then I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? Like 40, 50, it's good. We don't really care about individual accolades. We just care about the team success. And if the team starts playing better without him for the next season, you're going to look at it as, a smart deal. Because 13 mil locked up into one player, spread out between 4 players, that's what? 4.5 each, 4.25 each. And you can get some good players for 4.25 million, right? So, again, every part of me, and as like the kid in me, is saying, no.
Me too.
Don't do it.
Same thing.
But the actual mind of me is saying, take a look. If
the price is right.
Yeah, if the price is right, you might have to, right? Because then Wyatt Johnson's still on his entry level. Obviously, like we're using Dallas as an example, but Wyatt Johnson still has an entry level. You're probably going to have to make up the money through some other players, right? But then
I think
it also might free up cap for next year.
My whole thing is that it's not just going to be Wyatt Johnson.
No, of course.
Like, you're going to get... No, but I'm saying is you're going to get more.
Well, who do you think would be a part of that trade, right? Obviously, like we're talking... Because Dallas isn't going to want to maybe give up their whole future.
No, I'm not saying... Because we also talked... Because Dallas was one of the examples we used when I was talking about this with my buddies.
Yeah.
And we kind of said the whole thing, well, yeah, they wouldn't want to give up all of their stars. But, like, Dallas wouldn't do, like, Jason Robertson, and I don't know. I know Hintz is good, but Robertson and Hintz plus picks for Matthews, you don't think Dallas wants Austin Matthews?
But I wouldn't want to give him up for that. I wouldn't want to give him up for Jason Robertson and Hintz.
Plus more, though, I'm saying.
But, like you could get 6 first-round picks. Right? Obviously, that's way too much. Way too much. But, like, you have to also think about it like this. They're getting Austin Matthews, so those 6 first-round picks are probably not going to be in the top 16.
Well, that's the whole thing. Without Austin Matthews, those picks are not going to be there because Dallas is a really good team. Right?
Yeah.
But Dallas is just an example I use.
Yeah, no, for sure.
My point is that even though it's a dumb, like, we're having a dumb talk right now.
Yeah.
But, like...
But it's not.
But it's not at the same time. Like,
yeah.
It needs to be looked at because you talk about, like, well, I know you can't trade Marner because if he leaves, he's just going to leave as a free agent. But, like, the whole thing was, well, trade Marner or, like, trade Nylander. What about Matthews?
Yeah.
Like, I know he's your poster boy, your best player, right? But
he's league cover star.
Yeah.
Not even just team cover star.
Yeah,
He's league
cover star. But if you want change...
You got to do what you got to do.
You got to do what you do. But like I said in other podcasts, Treliving picked his guys, I think. He gave him the extension on purpose. He gave Nylander the extension on purpose.
Yeah.
He's going to build around those two no matter what it takes, even if a team does offer us a big, package.
Yeah.
I don't think he's going anywhere. And I don't think the MLSE wants him to go anywhere.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Because they make a lot of money off him.
Yeah.
But anyways, I just wanted to bring that up because it was kind of a opinion on how... he hasn't been in the lineup, and we've played probably the best
stretch of hockey
we've had,
especially this year. Yeah,
like including like obviously the power play, but that's just something of just nonsense talk. But
thing is like it's not though because it needs to be discussed, but it's something that could be discussed because honestly that could be one of the biggest trades in NHL history if that happens, right?
Yeah.
Like, but. That also kind of leads us now into our other topic of Matthews' injury. Because if the injury situation... Because now it says the update's not good for the Leafs. This is an article from Maple Leafs Daily. And it says, with another missed practice under his belt, Toronto Maple Leafs will be with their 4th consecutive game without Austin Matthews. So, again, it's confirmed upper body injury, which is probably meaning his wrist and or his shoulder. Right, and those are 2 reoccurring things.
Yeah.
So, if he is, like I said last week, the reoccurring injuries are what's going to make you consistently out of the lineup more and more. So, if he's out of the lineup for 40 games this year, 30 games this year, not that it brings his his capital down, but it almost brings his capital down just that little bit because he may come back next year or the end of this year and, not get the 40 goals like we expect. Right, as we mentioned, we were we're kind of confident in the fact that he's going to come back, probably at least get 40, right? But if it's a reoccurring injury, especially that wrist, which is so key for Matthews, he might not, right? And then that completely lowers his capital towards, trading him to other teams. Again, it's Matthews. He is top 5 in the NHL.
He's not going anywhere, but I see your point, though.
Like, it's very, you have to think about all those aspects of it, because if he's now prone to these injuries, yeah, he can score you 60, he could score you 70, but can he play all 82? Can he play 60, right? That's a big question, and teams would want a player that's going to score you 70, but if also he's not going to play even 50, 60 games, that's $13 million a player that's playing just over half, right? You don't want to do that. So, yeah, I mean, like, what do you think about that? You think it makes sense? Because I think the injuries got something else.
Like we said, we're still kind of on, like, the trade thing about this.
Yeah.
Like, obviously, that's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. So I'm going to kind of switch it into, like, this injury for the team now.
Yeah.
I don't care how many goals he scores. I'm going to be honest.
Yeah, we said 2 weeks ago, we don't care about personal accolades.
I don't care how many. Yeah, like Willie's tied for second in the league right now. I don't care how many goals they score. As long as they put up their numbers, which they will. They will do that. But I look at it and it's like, well, the team, like we just talked about, team's playing fine right now.
Yeah.
Leave him out as much as he needs to be out for, because rest that injury. There's no reason to rush him back now. We're undefeated without him. There's absolutely zero reason to rush this guy back. Let him sit out. If he's actually this hurt, and he probably is, let him rest. Keep him out. Because the team's fine.
Yeah.
Team's been fine. Like, I know, again, we haven't played the biggest and best of teams, right? Like, the Bruins one was a good win, but they haven't been themselves. Mm-hmm. And then you look at Detroit and Montreal, which aren't the best of teams either, right? And then, like, tonight we play Ottawa.
The thing is, we struggle a lot against Ottawa, which makes no sense to me.
We do, but I just look at those teams, and we're not facing, like, Colorado, right?
Or Winnipeg again.
Or Winnipeg without Matthews, right? So it's like, you can look at it like that, too. But it's like, if we're going to keep winning, there's no reason to bring him back. It's not like, oh, my God, like, we still suck on the power play. We're not scoring enough. Yeah. Matthews needs to come back.
Yeah.
We're actually,
I don't want to say, but we're doing better without him. As much,
in a way we are.
We are. Like, you don't want to say that, oh, yeah, you're doing better without your $13 million player.
But it's true. It needs to be said, right? Like,
we are, though, right? We've won 4 consecutive. We've scored, like, 16 goals, and we've only allowed, like, 4. Right? Like,
yeah, something like that, yeah.
Every facet has been, even the goaltending's been phenomenal. Like Stolarz with that one-handed no pad save. He just pulled it up, and I'm like, what the heck just happened? Like that. I don't know.
Stolarz has been
incredible. I think I said this a couple weeks ago, because whoever the heck was talking about it, that he could challenge for the Vezina. And his save percentage is like what? It's like 925, 930.
Actually, so he's second in the league at a 930. The only guy that's above that is a guy that is currently 14-1-0. So,
Connor Hellebuck, yeah.
And then he's second in goals against that too. So
yeah, like that's ridiculous, especially considering like we haven't had top goaltending for the last however long. Even Freddie was great, but this seems to be working, and a 2-person tandem is better than 1 starter and a backup.
Yeah.
Right? In my opinion. Like, obviously, if you have Hellebuck, you're going to have, like, Comrie behind him. Yeah. But, like, to have a arguable... He was the best backup in the league last year, and now he's progressing into becoming a starter. And then Joe Woll's working his way into coming back into the starting role. So you have 2 good starters who have been playing exceptionally. So, I don't know. Like I said, I was scared last week. I should probably say the same thing this week, but I know, like I go through so many mixed emotions that it's...
Yeah, no, that's being a Leafs fan. But I want to say one thing right now.
Yeah.
Just want to make this clear, because I said this on the first podcast, and I was exactly right on what happened. Guess what that was? It's something about our goalie situation. Do you remember a hot take I had?
Oh, yeah, that Stolarz was going to take the net?
Yeah, I said exactly what happened.
Yeah.
I said that Stolarz actually has a chance to be the 1A.
Yeah.
If Wall gets hurt, which he did, Stolaris is gonna come in, which he did, play good, which he
he
did, and just take it over the net,
which
he
he
did, right? So I like the tandem, I really do. If they just gotta be consistent, and my buddy who's a Bruins fan brought up a good point. If Wall, because he's injury prone, we all know this. If Wall, say he gets injured again, and then Stellaris needs to play a little bit more time than he has to, he brought up a good point, which I'll give him that. I argued it, because I'll say what I said, but he said that coming into the playoffs, if we kind of overuse him, he's never been in a situation like that before where he's had to be overused.
Yeah.
But then I said, well, see, the thing is, I don't think we'll overuse him because, first of all, while not playing as much games as he will, or as he would have had to, will obviously bring that injury risk down a little bit. Mm-hmm. And second of all, why wouldn't you play a goalie that's been as hot as him? Yeah. That's what I said. I'm like, if this guy is, I'm not comparing him, but I'm just saying, like, you look at Hellebuck. He's right there right now.
Yeah.
He's right there right now. Like, I know Hellebuck is the best goalie in the league, but Stolarz is right behind him, and the stats show it, right? Yeah. So it's like, why wouldn't you play the guy that you have the most confidence in? And yeah, I know he's been a backup for his whole career, right? So it's kind of it's new for him, right? So going into the playoffs, could he be worn out? We don't know. That's what possible. He said. He's like, and he's also a Bruins fan, so he's biased, right? But like, he brought up a half decent point, right?
No, it is something to think about.
And as a Leaf fan, I argued it to
our bias,
back him as my bias, or our bias, right? But it was something I thought of after, and I'm like, well, yeah, you know what? He does have a good point because he's never been in a situation like that. I don't think it's going to happen. There might be a time in the season where he's in a little bit of a slump. That's what usually happens to goalies. I'm just waiting for that to happen. Hopefully it doesn't.
Or maybe it's already happened.
If it has happened, that's a pretty good slump.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, I don't know. That's just something I wanted to bring up because I thought that was something that maybe, like, in the future we should kind of keep an eye on. But, like, right now, you know what? I'm not going to say anything because he's playing amazing, so we don't have to worry about it. That's also what I said.
That is a good point to think about. The only, like, another combat argument that I have to that is the fact that last year, as much as Bobrovsky was great, so Stolarz hasn't had playoff games, too many, right? Maybe 10 max. I don't know.
Because has he even played us?
I'm not sure, right? But I know last year, Bobrovsky didn't start the season great for Florida. And Stolarz took on a lot of the early work, right? So not that he's had the starter role or he's been that 1 or 1A.
Yeah.
But for Florida last year, Bobrovsky didn't start the season well, so Stolarz had to make up what Bobrovsky wasn't putting in, right? What? Uh-oh.
No, it just says Stolarz has a 0-0-0 record in one game with a goals against average of 5.17 and a save percentage of .842. So,
okay. Well, that's one game to work off of, right? Like,
yeah.
So, because we could go based off one game, his shutout, and be like, oh yeah, he's the best in the league.
No, yeah, for sure. So that was just a joke. I'm not saying
for sure.
anything, but he only he didn't even play the full game. I think he came in.
Probably got pulled.
Or whatever happened. I don't even know what happened.
I think it was probably stunk. Yeah. I think it was probably
2023-24. So it
was last year.
It was last year. Yeah.
Yeah. So probably round 1 or round 2 of the playoffs, right? So
like that.
Before they got to the finals, but you know, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Right now, he's got the net. It's his to lose, and I don't think he's going to. But
unless Matt Murray comes in and steals. Hey. It wouldn't be a Leaf the Lights On podcast without mentioning Matt Murray because for the past 3 podcasts, we have not mentioned his name. So his name needs to be said, bro.
Not true. I mentioned him 2 weeks ago.
You did?
I just said Matt Murray, and then I didn't say anything else.
Even if it's out of context, you just got to say his name.
Like, the funniest part is I was going to say Matt Murray when you were talking about Wall getting injured and everything, but I was like, no. Let me not bring this guy up because I don't want to think about him.
I read your mind. I'm like, I got to say it. It's got to be said.
Yeah. So we might as well move into tonight's game. So we're facing off against Ottawa, and we've already played them this year once, and we seem to struggle every single time we play the Senators. I don't understand why.
Did we play them?
Did we not?
No.
Or am I thinking about last year earlier? I might be thinking about last year. But either way, every time we play Ottawa, we struggle. Oh, I'm thinking about preseason. We played them in the preseason. We struggled. I don't know why we struggle against these teams that are below us, honestly, in terms of skill. Like, not taking anything away from Ottawa, but I don't know why we keep struggling against these teams, right? And now we lost a key player, not Matthews, because he's already out, Pacioretty. Pacioretty is out for, in quotes, expected to be out for the foreseeable future with a lower body injury.
I think they said I think I might have heard 6 to 8 weeks even.
That's a big loss.
I don't know where I heard it.
I don't know
but
either.
It was a long term.
Yeah,
stuff.
it's the same. It's in the same article that the Matthews talk is in. It says Pacioretty is going to be out for the foreseeable future. So we'll say 6 to 8 weeks. Just go based off what we have there. That's a big loss because we praised last week that second line of Johnny, Willie, and Pacioretty. So I don't know what the movement is going to be because we already called up Steves because he's been playing well.
9 goals in 10 games. That's pretty good.
No, that is really obviously Marley's, but still, right?
Yeah, of course.
I don't know how this could be a bigger loss than maybe we believe it to be.
Well, what's the word I'm trying to look for? It makes he was playing well, right? That line was playing well, and it makes people shift up, which gives less depth, I guess.
Yeah.
Because then you have Johnny and Willie on the second line, and then you insert whatever left winger is going to be there. So Robertson or McMahon or whoever it is.
Hopefully Robertson.
Whoever it is. It's probably going to be McMahon. We'll see tonight what happens. But the thing is, right now, losing 2 key guys, right? Your third line isn't that great right now.
Yeah, it's lacking.
Because if one of those guys moves up to the second line, you already have Domi up on the first line. So it kind of leaves... thank God, Dewar's back, and he's going to make his debut tonight, so, you kind of have him to make up for it, and then when Yarncrow comes back, but I think he had a setback, too, with his back or something like that, so he's probably going to miss a lot more time. But we knew an injury was going to happen. An injury already happened. It was very minor, but, obviously it sucks that this one's a bigger one, but the guy's 35 or however old he is.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, and he's a very injury-prone player. He's been injured for, the past 3 seasons. This is going to happen. We all knew this was coming. We just hope it wasn't going to happen, but, right? So all it does is just, it sucks because, you can even argue he's a bigger loss than Matthews right now.
Yeah, I mean, it's hard, not that it's hard to argue that, but that point is very valid because, like we said, that second line's been cooking. That second line has been unbelievable, right? So to take a key player that you may, he hasn't put up much points, right? And if you're just watching purely based on points, you're not going to see it. But
watching... It's all about the eye test, right?
Yeah, watching the games... He does so much for that second line in terms of battling for the puck and getting in front of the net, making passes that
even just hitting guys.
Yeah,
he crushes dudes.
Yeah, he's another
crushes
big body,
guys, man.
So it's a big loss for us, especially at obviously Matthews is a big loss, but this is another big loss because he's a player that's been on a line that's been playing well, and that line especially. Along with the first line and, specific players, has been the reason why we're winning these games without Matthews, right? So to take that out, as much as he wasn't here for, we'll say, the 36-19-0 from beforehand, right? He's been a part of the last 3 wins, or the last 4 wins. So, that's a big, it's a big loss.
Of course, yeah.
So, I don't know. I'm going to use the term worried about this game tonight, not because I think we're going to play bad, but we just always seem to suck against Ottawa.
And you know what? It's kind of funny because, we're also coming off of 3 wins. So it's this might be a trap. 4 wins? Sorry.
4.
Yeah, 4 wins. So this could be considered a trap game where it's oh my God, at least they're going to take this one. They play Ottawa. They haven't been that great. Mm-hmm. And then we end up losing 3-1, right? So.
3-1. I'm thinking 6-2. Honestly, I'm doubling your scoreline. I'm thinking a 6-2 game. Yeah, I'm thinking a 6-2 game.
I don't know. I just, you know what? In the past, I've seen games like this, and I would be I remember the Columbus one.
Yeah.
The Columbus one was totally a trap game. A lot of people knew, that was the game to see if, the Leafs were the same as other years. And it kind of proved that in that point in the season, we were.
Yeah.
Because you're coming off great wins. You're coming off a Tampa win, which is probably your best win of the season. And then you drop a stinker, 6-2 against Columbus or whatever. Well, yeah, 6-2, I think.
Yeah.
So this is another game that could be like that, but I also look at it, and I don't feel that. I don't know
Really?
why. I don't feel that. I
Okay.
just too many things right now are clicking for me, and it's just like I don't know. And I could be completely wrong.
Yeah.
Like we could come out and not show up and give up 7 goals. I can be wrong. I'm human.
Yeah.
But just
Predictions are
right now,
predictions.
right now, I feel like this is gonna be another, like, 3-1 Leafs win. That's what I'm saying. I think 3-1, 3-2 Leafs win. Close game.
Well,
But not a lot of. I think it's gonna be another board like the Detroit game.
okay. I mean, like, again, this is the first game of a back-to-back because we do also play tomorrow against Washington, and Washington is their teams like on paper aren't the greatest, but they just click.
They are really good.
Like they just click
They're a
together.
good team.
Right.
And now that Ovechkin is just like that guy's almost gonna break the record.
Oh, he's going to.
He's gonna if he continues to score like this, he might even retire the game he breaks it.
Yeah.
Because he's like, I don't gotta play anymore. Because I'm done. I won my cup. I'm done, right? But no, it's just you have an Ovi who's rejuvenated. Is that the word? Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And then you have guys that are kind of, I guess I'll use the word misfits, but not really misfits, but like lower tier play. Like Connor McMichael. I said before the podcast, the guy has 10 goals.
Yeah, I
Connor
didn't even.
McMichael.
I did.
Like he's a good player, but like 10 goals, that's the leading goal scorer right now is Cole Caulfield for my game yesterday with 12.
Yeah.
He's 2 off of the scoring lead.
He's starting
I know
with Willie.
It's
Or
no one less.
One behind. Sorry.
One
Forgot
behind,
Willie
but-
scored.
But that's why Willie needs to get a hat trick tonight.
Yeah.
So he can take back the lead. But no, like McMichael, Dylan Strome's having a beautiful season. I wanted him as a Leaf a couple of years ago.
He's assisted all of Ovi's goals. Ovi's got what,
Yeah.
10 or something like that?
I think he's got. Let me check.
'Cause
Yeah, he's got 10. He's got 10.
he's got 10.
He's got
And
10.
Dylan
Yeah,
Strome's
he's got 10.
assisted all 10 of Ovi's goals. So they're clicking. right now.
Strome currently has 18 assists.
18 assists.
18 assists.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. So
He's got more than guys like Natchez, Marner, Stone.
here's
Yeah.
the thing, right? This game tonight could be pivotal again, like the Columbus game, like you said, for showing us if we are the same as last year. Because it's the first game of the back-to-back. It's not even the second game. It's the first game against a lesser opponent. If we drop tonight's game, then drop tomorrow's game, it's evident that we're kind of the same team still.
Yeah.
If we win tonight's game and drop tomorrow's game, I'll be okay. But honestly, like, they have to win tonight's game. Or at least get a point from tonight's game.
I think as long as we win one of them, I think I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Like I'd rather win the game against Ottawa because it's a division
Division
battle,
rival, yeah.
right? Which they could be kind of looking to catch up to us.
Mm.
So I definitely think that I would rather win that game than the Washington game. But like, you know what? Win both, man. Like win both.
Yeah,
Like I know, coming off the back to back against playing Ottawa, who you know is gonna play you hard, and then the next day you have to go. Is the game in Toronto the Caps game or is
No, it looks like it's in Washington.
yeah, so if that's in Washington, they're at home. They fly to Washington. They play a hot Washington team. Like that, in my opinion, that's the game that has loss all over it.
Yeah. No,
but
I agree.
That game, I'm just like, just try to get a point.
Yeah.
Try to get that point. But,
And then we don't play till Saturday afterwards.
yeah.
So next week we're gonna have these 3 games.
And then that's when we have 17,000 other back-to-backs. No, I'm just,
Yeah, like again, I think I touched on this last week. We're tied for first in back-to-backs this year with 16. Like we've Friday, Saturday, Tuesday, Wednesday. It's 4 back-to-backs in 6 days, I think.
and the boys are
Or,
tired.
or a week.
Yeah.
Right? Obviously, you do 4 games in a week normally, but back-to-backs are what kills you.
Yeah.
Right? Because your legs just don't work by the 3rd period. So I think like they need to take the Senators game. Like they do
sure,
need to take one of the 2, but the Senators game is one that you're fresh. You haven't played since Saturday, so you had Sunday and Monday to rest, and you're going to be playing, like you said, a hot Washington team on Wednesday. So you kind of need this Senators game
Yeah.
to just, you know what I mean, to just continue what you've been doing. Like I'll be okay if we drop the points to Washington, even if we don't get a point out of it. I'll be okay with dropping points to Washington, but we need the points tonight. I think it's very, very pivotal. So,
No, I totally agree. Yeah.
yeah. Anything else you want to touch on before we?
No, I think we got everything.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty good.
All right. Well, thank you for watching episode 8 of the Leaf the Lights On podcast. I brought the jerseys back.
They're back.
Thank you for Mitchie and John, who have been killing it.
For real.
We greatly appreciate you, and we will see you guys next week. Take it easy.
Chop.